Time is ticking away before we inevitably get the next big phone from Samsung, the S25. The company's next flagship phones are sure to be some of the best phones when they come out, but we're still a good ways away from it. Naturally, we expect the S25 to make all the necessary iterative improvements to retain a seat amongst the best Android phones out there. And given how all the Galaxy AI features that accompany the Galaxy S24, it's almost certain that Samsung will follow up with more compelling features powered by artificial intelligence with the Galaxy S25. Leaks have slowly been developing to give us clues and ideas on what to expect with the S25, so much so that we've listed what we'd want to see with the S25 Ultra. Here's everything we know so far about the S25, the Plus, and the Ultra. Historically speaking, Samsung traditionally releases its flagship series early in the year, usually in January or February. The Galaxy S24 was announced during Galaxy Unpacked on January 17, 2024, and released on January 31, 2024. Knowing that, we suspect that the Galaxy S25's announcement and release would line up close to those anniversaries in 2025. Samsung actually pulled up the Galaxy S24's announcement a week earlier than the previous S23, so it'll be interesting if Samsung would move it up again for the S25. If that ends up happening. We're hoping that there's not much change to the Galaxy S25's price. Samsung launched the S24, the Plus, and the Ultra for $799, $999, and $1,299 respectively, with the S24 Ultra being the only one to see its price increase from the prior year. While the current pricing structure should remain intact for the S25, the only way we could see a change is if one of its rivals, namely Apple, would increase prices for its iPhone 16 later in the fall. That said, a leaker claims the price of the Galaxy S25 is going up, largely because of the cost of Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 chips, which are likely to power some models. Worryingly, analyst Ming-Chi Kuo echoes that sentiment, noting that the 3nm process to be used for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 is a costly one. We're still a ways out from the Galaxy S25 launch, so things could change between now and then, but this is a claim worth keeping an eye on. One immediate way Samsung could shake things up with the design of the Galaxy S25 by increasing the size of its display. The Galaxy S25 screen will go from the Galaxy S24's 6.2 inches to a slightly larger 6.36 inches, which would effectively match the rumored increased display size of the iPhone 16 Pro. We suspect that the phone itself would be a little larger than its predecessor, mainly to accommodate the larger screen because Samsung slimmed down the S24's bezels over the S23. But to keep the phone easy to handle, Samsung may be making at least the Ultra model rounder on the back to help it sit in your hand. Aside from the Galaxy S25 potentially getting a larger display, the rest of the design should be a familiar one. Meaning both the S25 and S25 Plus should be rocking the same armor aluminum frame, while the titanium frame should still be exclusive to the S25 Ultra. But there's still plenty of time for things to change as new leaks come around. We've seen a potential design for the S25 Ultra thanks to a rumor-based render. It's familiar-looking enough and still appears to come with a built-in S Pen, but it shows, as we've heard before, that the corners are rounder than previous Ultra Galaxy, and its display wider, giving it quite a different look. As for their displays, Samsung certainly made a point of detailing how all three versions of the S24 offer 2600 nit displays. Although, in our own benchmark testing, none of them came close to reaching those claims. But that won't stop the company from improving this one particular feature with a Galaxy S25. More importantly, however, Samsung can't afford to have another display issue like the mirror effect on the S24 that causes a clouding effect when the display's brightness is set to a low setting. We tested this out ourselves with the S24 Plus and S24 Ultra, verifying that both phones produced one of the earliest Galaxy S25 leaks hint at a bigger speed boost, courtesy of Qualcomm's next chipset. It's likely that the Galaxy S25 will be powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 chipset. This would be new territory and one that could give the Galaxy S25 an edge over its competitors, mainly due to Qualcomm reportedly switching to a 3nm manufacturing process with its next-gen chip. While one report claims Samsung would turn to the Exynos 2500 as its system-on-chip exclusively, and others have contended that Samsung plans to use both the Exynos 2500 and Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in the Galaxy S25, a new rumor has emerged about Samsung's chip plans. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo believes the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 will be the only option for every Galaxy S25 model. Still another rumor, this one out of Korea, expects Samsung to strike a deal with MediaTek to supply chipsets for some of its S25 models. As a result of the likely increase in computing power with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, the Galaxy S25 may need to use much larger batteries to feed the chip enough energy. This could have other knock-on effects, like a shorter overall battery life compared to current models or slower charging. Another performance boost could be coming to the S25 Ultra specifically, with that phone tipped to get UFS 4.1. Most Galaxy S24 models use UFS 4.0, so the improvement would be incremental, but still result in a performance uplift that would help any AI features included with the new phone. And from a connectivity perspective, another big upgrade to come to the Galaxy S24 series: satellite connectivity. This would help users send messages, particularly to emergency services, while off-grid. Samsung has been nearly untouchable in the camera department with its phones, proven by the Galaxy S23 Ultra dominating all other phones throughout 2023 in our best camera phones list. Well, that changed with the release of the S24 because of the controversial move of downgrading to a 5x optical zoom camera with the S24 Ultra. We saw a noticeable difference with our zoom test between the S24 Ultra and S23 Ultra. So Samsung has its work cut out in redeeming itself with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. So far, the early rumors paint an enticing picture: an upgraded main camera, 50 megapixels ultra-wide-angle camera, up from the 12 megapixels one on the S24 Ultra, and a new telephoto camera with variable capabilities. The latter was rumored to happen with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but the S25 Ultra seems like the more appropriate candidate. On one hand, it could mean that we could have a variable telephoto camera that could move to different zoom levels, but it could also be something different. Take for example the variable aperture of the recent Xiaomi 14 Ultra, which can dial down the aperture to different levels. Zooming has always been a specialty with the Ultra, so we're really hoping Samsung delivers in this area to redeem itself. However, there's a report that Samsung might be ditching the 3x telephoto zoom for the S25 Ultra. This would result in a triple camera setup as opposed to the quadruple one the series is known for. However, leaker Ice Universe says the opposite and claims that the S25 Ultra still have 4 camera lenses. The leaker has gone on to say that both the ultra-wide and secondary telephoto lenses on the S25 Ultra are due an upgrade, with both cameras using 50 megapixel sensors instead of the 12 megapixels and 10 megapixels sensors found on the S24 Ultra. That claim has been echoed by other leakers. Meanwhile, there are fewer rumors about the cameras for the S25 and S25 Plus. One of the few hints to Samsung switching to a Sony camera sensor instead of the ISOCELL sensor used previously. However, a leaker named the Galaxy says neither the S25 nor the S25 Plus will benefit from a megapixel or layout change to its cameras. Samsung has announced new camera sensors, and we'd imagine that the 50 megapixels ISOCELL G/NJ might find its way into the S25 models, as the sensor is approximately the same size as the one in the S24 and S24 Plus. The lens promises both an anti-refractive layer and pixel isolation, which should improve light capture, reduce reflections, deliver more accurate shadows, and improve color reproduction. Whatever ends up coming to fruition, Samsung can't afford to come up short against the reigning king in our best camera phones, list the iPhone 15 Pro Max. In terms of battery, the S25 has the potential of breaking records, especially if the power efficiency of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 turns out to be true. All 3 models of the Galaxy S24 easily boasts substantially better battery life than their predecessor, and with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 purportedly being developed with a 3nm manufacturing process, the S25 could yield greater endurance. At the very least, we anticipate the Galaxy S25 to have the same battery capacity as the S24. There have been speculations for a long time that Samsung will use stacked batteries in its flagship series, but there is no convincing proof that we will see them with the S25. Meanwhile, many rumors suggest that Samsung will stick with a 5000 mAh battery on the S25 Ultra. The phone's charging capabilities are clearly in need of improvement. Samsung has maintained the same 25-watt wired charging speed as the Galaxy S24. Thus, an update to the Galaxy S25 would be a significant improvement. That's because both the S24 Plus and S24 Ultra have 45-watt wired charging rates. However, there is even more room for improvement in charging throughout the S25 series, as the OnePlus 12 demonstrates that you can charge a phone completely in 30 minutes. Finally, Samsung will need to enhance the wireless charging speed in the Galaxy S25 range, which has been restricted to 15-watt wireless charging since the S9. An update is long needed at this time, especially with the OnePlus 12's amazing 50-watt wireless charging speed. After releasing a few Galaxy AI capabilities with the S24, Samsung will need to come up with even more on the Galaxy S25. We tried several of the Galaxy AI capabilities, including instant slow-mo, generative editing, and voice recorder summaries, and found that many of them had practical uses. Others, on the other hand, continue to walk that narrow line between novelty and familiarity. There have been no leaks on what new Galaxy AI features would be released with the Galaxy S25, but a Samsung official did mention the prospect of combining the Bixby personal assistant with generative AI capabilities. However, everyone is wondering how long they will be unique to the Galaxy S25 or if they will be carried over to earlier models. That's because several of the Galaxy AI capabilities formerly limited to the Galaxy S24 are now available on earlier Samsung phones via a software update. Samsung has a tremendous task with the Galaxy S25. There is clearly greater pressure on its flagship phones since, once the processing speed and battery life of the Galaxy S24 are removed, the benefits are minimal at best, especially when the same Galaxy AI capabilities have been trickling down to the S23. It's much more important to have larger enhancements with the Galaxy S25 cameras and charging speeds. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.